Hello YouTube, I'm MC Go 101, and in today's video we're going to show you how to change spark plugs in this 2007 Acura TL Type S. Now this procedure will be the same for most Acura TLs of the same vintage and the V6 Accords of the same similar years as well. So before we get started, we'll just go over quickly what we need. So you're going to want OEM spark plugs. For my 07, it requires an IZF R6K11 or an NGK 6994. Now they are laser iridium. They're supposed to last like 5 years, I believe. I pulled one out when I got the vehicle. It was definitely old and rusty. So just as preventative maintenance, I am going to go ahead and change them. While we're on the subject of spark plugs, I believe these were supposed to come pre-gapped at 0.44 inches. They were not. I had to gap all of these to 0.44. As out of the box, they were 0.35s. So the car is designed for 0.44 gap. So that's what I went ahead and did with all 6 of my plugs already. So once we got that straightened out, you're going to need a small ratchet, extension, 10 mil, 3/8 ratchet, a couple extensions. We'll use a 5/8 spark plug tool, preferably one with the rubber boot in it. This one doesn't have it, so I'll grab a magnet. And then for disassembly of the track bar, I'm just going to use a small impact with a 10 and a 12 mil and a little flathead to get the cover off. Without further ado, we'll jump right into this and we'll show you how it's done. So you can probably do the job with the track bar in, but for the extra few minutes of time, I'm just going to remove the track bar so I have lots of room to get at those back 3 plugs. So we'll get the engine covers out of the way. Sorry, I said a 12 mil. I have a 13 on mine. So just loosening the track bar. We'll go to the other side, do the same thing. Now, we'll collect all these nuts. Make sure not to lose them into the black abyss. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Once we have those, we'll switch our impact over to our 10 mil. There's going to be a few connectors holding the track bar back. 2 on this fuse panel. So we'll just go ahead and pull these screws out. 1 here on the back of the track bar. Car has had recent work done, and I think they put a different bolt in. This should be a 10 mil as well. Just going to get that out by hand. And then on the far side of the track bar, you'll also notice another one, which is missing. Alright, I will replace that when I put this back on. So we'll wiggle this free. There's a back clip that attaches to the bar, so if you pull up, it separates from the track bar. Then back here, we'll unbuckle this metal clamp, and there's our track bar. Again, a step I didn't want to have to do, but it's just going to make everything that much easier. Okay, so we'll get the engine cover off. In my case, just a flathead screwdriver. We'll remove that. And now we'll get in a little closer. And we'll show you how to do this. So, I'm just going to take my small ratchet. So your front bank here, your back bank, you'll notice the large coil packs over each spark plug. Each coil pack is held down by 1 10 mil nut. So we're going to go ahead and crack that loose and pull it out. do it by hand and make sure not to lose the bolt. And then trying to do this with two hands. So preemptively, I've just taken off the coil retainers. Now we'll go ahead, grab the coil, and we're going to pull straight out. Oh, wait, pardon me. We do have to disconnect these connectors. So let me get my flathead here. Okay, flathead was not needed. My apologies. There's a little clip. You just got to grab with your thumb, squeeze, and pull out. So now that that's free from the coil, we can pull the coil flat out. And then we'll get our 3/8 ratchet with an extension and a 5/8 socket for our spark plugs. Okay, I'm just going to have to find my magnet. And then carefully pull out said spark plug. Which still has threads on it. So just take it out a bit more. And here is our first plug. So I'll see if I can get a close-up of it. So again, the IZFR 6K11s, you can tell it's definitely got some wear, some rust on it. I'm not sure what the gap is. Check it quick. Gap is about 0.40. Oh no, jumped up. Yep, that one's gapped in. All right, now that we have that one exposed, we're going to go ahead and put one of our brand new NGKs, all shiny and new. Now I like to start it off by hand, taking the ratchet off. Yeah, you don't want to cross thread the head. That'll make for a bad day. And once it gets snug, these do not need a lot of foot-pound to torque them down. I believe it is like somewhere around the 20 foot-pound mark. Now with aluminum, I'm going to make sure it's snug and then just finger tight. All it needs to be. Okay, now that that one is in, I will replace that coil. Pops right in onto the spark plug. You can feel it. We'll put our connector back and we'll go to the second one. Yep. So I just got this car not long ago, just putting my finishing touches on it, getting it back to where it should be mechanically. And I thought one of the next logical steps would be the spark plugs. So, glad you guys could join me on this journey. Spark plug number 2. So it's a good thing to inspect the plugs when you pull them out. Obviously looking for any kind of excess fouling, oil, anything that would look suspicious. This doesn't. It just looks like it has a lot of wear on it, which is okay. That's good. That's what we want. Spark plug number 2. Again, I'll thread this one in by hand. You don't want to use any thread locker on the spark plugs or anything like that. It's not necessary. I think the spark plugs even come coated, the threads. So, tighten this up. One thing I have noticed since owning the car, it does have a little bit of a rough start. So, that made me think, what could it be? Air, spark, and fuel. I got lots of air, lots of fuel. Now I'm just checking spark. Here, good and snug. And we'll put our connector back on. On to number 3. Grab that connector. Oh. I may have just ran into a little snag. I'll be right back. Alright, so ran into a small hiccup. I haven't done the spark plugs on a V6 Honda yet, so I figured there might be a little snag. Simple fix. On the last cylinder, when you go to pull the coil, your coolant reservoir is in the way. All you need for this is a 10mm socket, and there is a little bracket that holds the coolant reservoir to the fan shroud. So just undo this 10mm bolt. This little bracket will pull out, and then you can move your coolant reservoir out of the way. Preferably in a place it'll stay. Okay, now we'll continue on removing that coil. That one was good and snug, but that's okay. I believe that Honda likes to do the spark plug changes with the timing belt, as I was told when I was looking it up. But a little preventative maintenance will never hurt. There's number 3. See if that focuses. So there is a tiny bit of oil on that, ever so slightly. It could be gaskets for the spark plug in the valve cover, but that's not an excessive amount, so I'm not terribly worried. So we'll just keep that as a note and we'll carry on. So again, by hand into the cylinder. And then we'll snug this up. And you want to hold the extension straight so it doesn't go in cockeyed. You want the seat nice and straight. So just snug and then a little more. Just like so. Again, you turn your coil, pops onto the spark plug, clip your connector, coolant reservoir back in place, and we'll get our 10mm. Goes in kind of bent down. It forms into the shape of the coolant reservoir. So I'm just going to thread this in by hand to start. And you can hold the bracket down as you screw the bolt in. This keeps it lined up. And just like that, coolant reservoir back in place. So before we go too far, I'm going to put the coil nuts back on, make sure that this bank is good and secure. Throw that on by hand to start. Now these don't need to be torqued down very hard at all. I'm sure it's only like 10 or 12 foot-pounds, so finger tight, guys and girls. Again, finger tight. I am keeping note of that bank having a little bit of oil in the plug. I will keep an eye on that for future. See if it gets any worse. All right, just like that, guys, we have the front bank of our spark plugs all changed out. Now for the back, which I have not done myself. So, see if you guys can see this at all. Try and jump in here a little bit. Okay. Now, same as before, we just need to get our small coil nuts off. And again, they're only on finger tight. So basically just crack them loose and unthread them. So again, much easier without the track bar in the way. I like to take shortcuts, but this is just easier to pull it out. And besides, you get messing with these things, you get pretty good at pulling it off quick. So now we'll disconnect our connector, and then we'll pull our coil straight out. So there's a little less clearance, so you're going to have to maneuver it a little bit. Alright, so I started with the center plug. So fighting with clearance issues already, just have to be patient. This plug didn't even seem to be seated all the way. See if I can't get my trusty magnet in there. It does shrink. Still a bit of thread on her. So we'll just continue backing that out. There, good and loose by hand. Magnet should grab that no problem. And with a little bit of fidgeting, here's our fourth plug. See if I can show you guys that, if it'll focus. Looks like normal wear and tear. There is a little residue on that, oily, but nothing major. So we will continue on. Now in this case, space limited. I'm just going to slowly slide the plug in. And then I'll put my ratchet in by hand. And we're going to start the threads by hand. Doing our best to keep it centered. So on the back bank, it's a different orientation. Typically looking at the front of the motor, right is right, left is left. On the back bank to tighten, you're actually ratcheting to the left. Pull that out. We will replace our coil. Pop. On with the connector. And on to our next plug. So on the back corner of the bank, we'll take off the connector, pull the coil out. You may have to fight around the power steering hose. Just be patient. There's that coil. Now I'm going to try to get this ratchet in, but I may have to go to a shorter extension. Nope. Just got to get around the power steering line, and all is good. Das is good. Again, I'm holding my extension as square to the hole as I can. Just easier on the threads if it comes out straight. And be careful of the hot engine. Car is still warm. Drove it about an hour ago. I'm going to try and fish this out by hand. Sorry, unthread it. There. Now it feels like I have the plug good and loose, so I'll get a ratchet out. Just has to finagle around the power steering line. Like so. Then we'll find our magnet. See if you guys can see. Yeah, a little bit. Alright, here is plug number 5. So see if we can have a look at that. Normal wear, next to no oil splashes on that. Sorry about the bad focusing. Without further ado, we'll slap number 5 in. Now again, being tighter on space, I'm going to just slowly slide it into the spark plug hole. And then we'll tighten it by hand. The power steering line does have a bracket. You can pull it out of the bracket so it has more slack. Mine has just been out of the bracket since I bought it. It's not causing any issues. So thread it in by hand. And then we'll come in with the ratchet. And again, it's counterintuitive on this back bank. But lefty is tighty on the back bank. Or so it would seem. No. Sorry, it's just orientation. Feels like I'm going lefty-tighty, but just the angle I'm looking at it. My apologies. So we'll get this in nice and straight and snug. We'll pull our tools out. And we will replace our coil. Harder to see back here, but make sure that it's coil goes over the screw, the coil retainer. We'll plug our cap back in. And now, last but not least, the far driver's side. I may have better access from it over here. Just going to back the camera up a hair. Okay. Now, looking at number 3, we want to pull our electrical connector. Then pull our coil straight out. Then I'll fish in my spark plug socket. And be patient, there's lots of stuff in the way. There we go. Got her onto our plug. See if I can unthread it by hand. Ugh. I can, but ugh. Oh, there we go. Hanging on by a thread. All right. Now we got that spark plug good and loose. Again, we'll fish out our extension. We'll go get our magnet. And there's spark plug number 6. So it looks about normal. You can tell it's been in there a while. I'm not sure when they were changed last, but definitely won't hurt. Same as before. Being careful not to drop anything into that spark plug hole other than the spark plug. We're going to slowly slide that in there. Try and tighten it by hand. Nice and straight. So yeah, hoping to have a little bit better cold morning starts. Also, wouldn't hurt to get a little better fuel mileage. This will probably help with that. So I'm good. And that is good and tight. Double check. Yep. Okay, so we'll get our tools out. We're going to put our coil back in. All right. All 3 coils are back in the back bank, and they are connected. So we just need our coil retainer bolts. Just these little screw-like things. Tiny little buggers. And we'll put these on our coil packs. 1, 2, then we'll just get our 10 mil. Just snug them up nice and lightly. Like I say, I'm sure it's like 10 foot-pounds, so literally finger tight. Okay, all right. We have now officially changed 6 spark plugs in this Acura TL. While we're here, I'll plug in this power steering line to that bracket. We'll have a look, see if anything else got moved around. That's good, that's good, that's good. All right. So we'll go ahead and put our strut bar back on. So we'll just rest it there. Oops, I got it flipped. There, that's better. Now, so on the strut bar, you'll see this metal slice, or sorry, metal clip. The back of the fuse box actually has a slide that connects right to that. It slides down on it. Okay, so just loosely going to make sure everything is in place. This bracket goes back over top of the strut bar. Line up your holes. And I didn't know any better. I think I got her wedged. So I'm just going to undo this quickly. Reposition it. So lightly putting the sway bar in place. Connecting our fuse box. Okay, so you want to line up the fuse box. So we'll line up the fuse box holes. Line that up. Put that down in place. So for reassembling the strut tower, I'm not going to torque these down with an impact. I'm going to do it with a wrench, because it only needs very little torque on those bolts. So just use the impact to get them started. Okay. Just going to take a 3/8 ratchet, 13 mil socket. Just going to tighten these up by hand. That's good. looks good. I think the torque on these is also really low, like 16 to 20 something foot-pounds. So that's why I'm doing it by hand. And last but not least, bam. Now, we got our 2 bolts for our fuse box. You can zip them in. Make sure your holes are lined up, that helps. Now there is 2 more bolts, one here and one back here, but looks like my mechanic has misplaced them. I'm just going to take a few minutes and locate a set so I can do this properly. But if it wasn't for those last 2 bolts, you could just install your covers. Well, it's supposed to be easier than that. That one's on. There we go. And then once you got your covers on, you can then put on your engine cover. Now I'm not going to screw this down because I have to fix those 2 bolts. Well, I'll screw this down just for a second. And then you can sit back, enjoy your handiwork, and even give it a fire up. First start, brand new spark plugs. Just like that, folks. So like I say, I'm not expecting any like performance gains or anything, but just good preventative maintenance that you can do at home. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this helps somebody. And if you liked the video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.